Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this will be a quickie. Ever since the Supreme Court in Colorado ruled to disqualify Trump from the ballot, the number of threats against the Supreme Court and jurists on the Supreme Court has been on the rise. There was recently a threat at one of their houses that turned out to be a hoax, but the FBI announced this previous Monday that it's going to be assisting local law enforcement investigating threats against the Colorado Supreme Court. So I'm curious, will the FBI's assistance aid in the prosecution of folks that are making threats against the Supreme Court? Entertainment purposes only. Okay, they're here. They are offering their assistance in the investigation, and probably also using their resource. They have more resources that they can use to help with and analyzing the data. So I think the police department is going to be doing the primary investigation, but the FBI is going to be providing data analysis and intelligence and stuff like that to the investigation. Just basically bringing more resources into the case and helping drive cases forward and investigations forward. They will be slow. This is not going to be quick. This is going to be a slow process. In the past, we have the Wheel of Fortune as the jurist. Actually, it wasn't the jurist. What is this article? The non-government organization Advanced Democracy compiled a report that basically on the spike of violent rhetoric against the court, noting similarities in the response of the FBI raid of Trump's, it's not a raid, it was a search warrant, of Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence and gag orders against the former president and his ongoing criminal trials. So basically, Trump has something go against him. He gets all grumpy on social media, and then his followers rage and incite violence. So here lather, rinse, repeat. And, of course, we're going to have a hillbilly drunken brawl here. Here is, that ruling basically stirring up the hornet's nest of deplorables. Here we go. Here comes another ruling against Donald Trump, and we have to cause a disturbance because he's a chaos agent, and he rules over chaos agents, and these people are just chaos agents subordinate to Trump. Will this lead to prosecutions? Yes. The law is going to be here. They're going to be looking at these people and finding them and bringing them to justice. That's kind of the vibe that's here. And instead of this being Jack Smith, it could be Jack Smith. Certainly anything Jack Smith does is going to be viewed on that one. But I think this is just going to be prosecutors in general making examples of people that do this. And it might just be that they look at what Jack Smith did, or they look at what the Department of Justice did against the insurrectionists on the Capitol, and by prosecuting these people, you really brought down the temperature and you brought down the amount of violence. So you kind of want to go after these folks and bring them to justice, because when you bring them to justice, they are less likely to repeat the behavior, and it gets around to their buddies and their friends and their family about what happened to somebody they knew that, sent some threat over the internet regarding the Colorado justices, and maybe they might want to think twice before they do the same darn thing. The vast majority of people are going to get away with it. They just aren't going to be investigated. There's not going to be enough evidence to hold them to it. So I think ultimately, I guess what I'm getting from this is they're going to make an example out of a few people that they can catch, but the vast majority are just going to skate. And it makes sense, right? Trolls are going to be trolls, and there aren't really any punishments for trolls. Now, heaven forbid that I look to China for guidance on an issue like this. But how China basically does it is that there's something called social credits, or like a social credit score. And in China, as you might imagine, is the more you speak out against the government, the lower your social credit score is. And it's their way to harass people who don't toe the government's line or their policies. So you might ask yourself, if you've never heard about this, well, how does that work? Well, you might have to have a certain score or higher, kind of like a credit score, if you want to book a flight within China. If your score is not high enough to book a flight, well, guess what? You're taking a train. And maybe if your score is not high enough to take a train, then you're taking a bus. It's that kind of thing that, oh, you want to speak out against the government and say things we don't like? Oh, fine, you can do that. But good luck getting on a plane anytime soon, because that's not going to happen. And, maybe there's a fair way to do it, but for people who are trolling on the internet or something along those lines, or, sending threats to Supreme Court justices, instead of prison time, if there was a social score that, would prevent them from traveling, or, it doesn't restrict their freedoms, it restricts their choices on how they enjoy those freedoms. That kind of thing. Again, people like to fly. It's quick and it's convenient. Okay, well, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Now you can drive or take the bus or take the train. A lot less convenient. I imagine there's other things they do too. I don't know them in details. But, okay, so what's going to happen with this? Probably not a lot. They'll investigate it. They might get a couple of people that are rather egregious. Say, like the person who just phoned in like a threat to a justice's house. If they can get that guy, they'll go for that guy. But for the random people that are just leaving voicemails saying, I don't like what you did, you better watch out what you're doing because bad things might happen to you, something nebulous like that, they're just going to warn them and send them on their way. So they'll get away with all that crappy behavior, and there's really no punishment for it. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen. Anyways, just wanted to throw you a quickie. Thank you for watching my channel and supporting it. Appreciate it. Thank you for anything that you do that helps this video get out to a wider range of viewers. To new viewers, welcome to the channel. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.